10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion.
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
It's game day. Go Ducks. Oregon soccer taking on Washington State tonight at 7 o'clock. It'll be televised on Pac-12 Network, also on the radio, KWVA Eugene 88.1 FM, the student radio station. And Oregon women's basketball is back. The Ducks with an exhibition tonight. It's on the Oregon live stream. Our OSN broadcast extraordinaire intern, Sean McPherson, will have the call. Tune in, 6 o'clock. I think Alex Stimson's directing it. Yeah, Alex Stimson's here in the studio getting ready. Alex Stimson's going to be directing that. Shoot. We're going to have to get you on the show later on, Alex. Alex is maybe going to come on the show, tell you what to expect tonight at Matthew Knight Arena, because fans were so glad to have you back at Matthew Knight Arena. That's coming up tonight. Of course, we do have some football conversation for you, too. Verone McKinley. Also, Mark Johnson, the voice of the Colorado Buffaloes, and a man that I should never ask to be on the show with ever again. You'll see why coming up a little later on. We're also going to hear from Kelly Graves previewing that exhibition that takes place tonight. It's on the Oregon live stream again. You got Oregon soccer and Oregon women's basketball in action tonight. Let's go Ducks. Nyara Sabally, one of 20 players from Oregon basketball, named to the preseason watch list for the Katrina McLean Award, presented annually to the nation's top power forwards. So you know what that means. Oregon men's basketball had 3 preseason watch list members. So they had one of the top 20 point guards, one of the top 20 shooting guards, and one of the top 20 power forwards. Well, Oregon women's basketball said, hang on. Because Oregon women's basketball has somebody on the watch list for the best point guard, the best small forward, and the best power forward. That means that Oregon women's basketball has a top 20 player at 3 positions, according to the Basketball Hall of Fame. And Oregon men's basketball has 3 players that are top 20 at their position, according to the Basketball Hall of Fame. I'm going to venture that 6 players combined on those 10 watch lists, that's probably the most in the country. That's just a guess. I haven't done that research yet, I'm going to be honest with you. But men's basketball and women's basketball, raking in the awards. An All-Pac-12 performer a year ago, Sabally led the Ducks in both scoring and rebounding. 12.9 points per game, 7.3 rebounds per contest, 3rd in the conference in field goal percentage, and reached double figures in all but 4 games last season. Nyara Sabally, preseason Katrina McLean Award watch list. But again, the Ducks have a top 20 player at 3 positions for women's basketball and at 3 positions for men's basketball. Is Oregon a basketball school? Who's to say? Tonight, they're a basketball school and a soccer school. Tomorrow, cross-country national championships take place in Salt Lake City. They're a cross-country school. Then they're a volleyball school tomorrow night. And then they're a football school when the Ducks take on the Buffs coming up at 12:30 on Saturday. It's going to be televised on Fox, 10:30 pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network. We're going to hear from Verone McKinley as he broke down the Duck defense. Some awesome quotes from Verone McKinley. And he is also, this week, our graduated Duck, brought to you by Graduate Hotel right here in Eugene, the smartest place to stay for Oregon football fans. Verone McKinley, the 194-pound safety out of Texas, 5'11", technically a sophomore, made 6 starts while playing in all 7 games for the Ducks in that pandemic-shortened season last year as a freshman. He was a freshman All-American, Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week a couple times, and this year he has already been a National Player of the Week and a Pac-12 Player of the Week, and he's one of the top guys in the country in terms of interceptions. They call him the General. It's an awesome nickname for Verone McKinley. And, well, we always like to talk about not just on the field but off the field. Verone McKinley will 1,000% be doing a job like mine and will be doing it infinitely better than I do it, because he could be a broadcaster, a coach. He's going to be successful in whatever he decides to do, and he has already earned his bachelor's degree. Verone McKinley, here's to a long NFL career. Here's to a then long coaching or broadcasting career, whatever Verone wants to do, he's going to be able to do it. Start your game day off right with a visit to Graduate Eugene, a locally inspired hotel in the heart of downtown, the smartest place to stay for Oregon football fans. Graduate Eugene always bringing us your graduated Ducks, and this week it's Verone McKinley. And now we're going to hear from our graduated Duck of the week. Verone McKinley breaking down the Duck defense, getting ready for a 12:30 kickoff with the Buffs of Colorado in Autzen Stadium.
How did you start the High on Hog endorsement?
I guess after the Fresno State game, I went there. I was with Noah. Me, Noah, and our families went, and that's kind of how that started. So that's where that came from.
How true is it to Texas authentic barbecue?
No, it's real deal. Real deal. Especially with me, I wouldn't lie to you, and I wouldn't just do it. I didn't want to just do it NIL or anything like that. That's just like something I actually like, and it's phenomenal.
Take me through that play at the end of the first half where you were able to maintain your balance and make that great play on the ball to keep the touchdown.
So, they're going fast. They had kept running over routes with the tight end, so I was expecting the over route, and then he planted his foot and went vertical, so I speed turned out of it and got back to my man, and then I saw the ball, and I just got my hand up. I wish I could have got both or one-handed it, but that's kind of what was going through, and just getting back to my man because I saw he went vertical, and I was like, oh, and so that's just how that happened.
KT gets a lot of attention, understandably so, for your D-line. But can you maybe just speak of the importance that Dorless and Popo are doing? Because they play positions where the average fan's going to look at stats and one tackle. Like, it's hard to justify just looking at a box score what they do, but they are playing really, really good right now.
Those two allow for KT to get those one-on-ones because you have to account for them, and they're able to take on two guys and still be able to fill gaps or cause the quarterback to step somewhere, and that's where KT makes some of those plays. So they're super, super, super impactful. And of course, playing D-line, sometimes you don't see everything. But even in the film room, we're just like, wow, that's crazy. I've seen Dorless take on three guys, get them all off of them, and maybe Noah made the tackle. Or Popo just striking guys and getting them off of them. So huge impact.
Mario was talking about how the freshman linebackers getting holes to fit into. Like, is that what he's speaking of? Is those guys creating those holes for your the next level to fill right in?
Right, especially when playing gap sound defense, when you're able to stay in your gap, and with young linebackers like Jeff, who's been playing phenomenal, he can just go and just shoot that gap and not have to worry about anything. That's also big. So they definitely did a good job of that.
What do you feel like just the development of the D-line and interior specifically has come since your time has been here? Because I was watching the UCLA game and I was just so shocked at just how much bigger your group feels than a normal matchup.
Well, it was good because we have a lot of guys that are healthy. We have a lot of guys that are healthy who've been developing and, almost waited their turns, and they've been ready for this moment. You got a little bit of taste of them last year, and now they're guys. They're ready to go, and they felt that this was the year to really prove themselves, and they played with the chip on their shoulders. So that's been huge for them to play and be such an impact in the mindset of them just, like, trying to establish the front. So.
Colorado, a team with not a lot of wins, but what strengths have you seen on their offense?
Quarterback has a really strong arm and can make some really big wild throws, and then of course they have some dynamic receivers. Brendan Rice, good receiver, 14, good receiver. So some guys that can really take the top off of defense and are physical, and they do a good job after the catch as well. So that's some things I've seen. And of course, running back, he's from Texas, so I'm a little familiar with him, but shifty guy, gets downhill and has true speed. So.
Important things for this defense to do starting out in this game?
Tackle. Myself included.
Why is that? I mean, I associate you as one of the better tacklers on this team.
I know, but that fourth down, I got to make that play. And now I'm hard on myself, so I have to make that play. So just tackling, because of how shifty their running back is and how physical their receivers are after the catch, just tackling. They're going to make plays, of course. That's football. We're going to limit explosives and just make sure we tackle and get them down.
Mario was talking about the importance of learning to every week to practice at your best, because he said there's no team in the country who's good enough to not play at their best and win. And you guys learned that lesson against Stanford. Do you feel like this team is kind of grown in that capacity across the board since that game?
Absolutely. For one, in those situations, we never lose focus. That's something that we've gained from that loss. And I think, not sometimes losses and bad things are a good thing. They help you later on and down the line. I think that was something that it was. So for us as a team, it's helped us regain focus, lock back in. And every practice has been super competitive. Guys being physical. We have a lot of guys getting back just healthy and ready for the next step, especially when you have success. In a few games before, we've done good against Cal, UCLA, so momentum's rolling, and we know we want to keep that going, so that's all part of it.
Good stuff from Verone McKinley, also a big barbecue guy, if you didn't know. Good stuff. Also, Dustin, disrespect to Prince, she's not on a watch list. Dustin, just wait. I'm pretty sure that watch list that she would be on gets announced tomorrow. So it may be that the Ducks have 4 players for women's basketball that are on top 20 preseason lists. It's possible. We'll find out. Up next, a man who should be doing movie trailers and will make my voice sound like this when we come back. Mark Johnson, voice of the Buffs, is going to join us previewing Saturday's matchup after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. I'm Joey Mack, and it's Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Look, I mean, this might be the best backdrop we've ever seen. Mark, can you just give us a tour of where you are? Mark Johnson, the voice of the Buffs, joining us. And, man, the effort is next level. Mark's on his way to his office, and he just pulled over, and we've got a beautiful Colorado background. Mark, just holy cow, I don't even know what to say to you right now.
Well, I live, just so your folks can understand, your listeners can understand, I live west of Denver, up in the mountains. I've got a little ranch up there. And then Boulder, of course, is kind of on the northwest corner of the metro area. So I've got a bit of a drive. And so I was halfway there. I didn't leave the house as quick as I thought I would this morning. And so by the time I got to you, I wasn't quite to Boulder. So I pulled over. I guess you'd probably call this is just on the edge of Golden, Colorado. So you got the mountains behind me right there. I pulled off the highway just to talk to you. So this is truly a Colorado backdrop as I'm talking to you there in Oregon.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Golden, Colorado, our good friends at Miller Coors will remember that phrase well. So, you're speaking my language here, Mark. This is great. Season recap for us. For those of us that don't follow the Buffs regularly, Mark, just tell us how the season's gone so far.
Well, not great. I mean, especially when you consider, Joey, the fact that in Carl Durrell's first year, now it was that truncated season, obviously, in 2020, but they did go 4-1 during the regular campaign. Went to the Alamo Bowl, lost to Texas, but a very successful year. Had the Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year in Jarek Broussard, who was outstanding a season ago, albeit in only 6 games. But I think the expectations were pretty solid coming into 2021. Started off all right. Nice victory over Northern Colorado, a little regional matchup there. Had a very good game against the top 5 team in Texas A&M down at Denver Mile High Stadium, and ended up losing that one 10-7. It was a heck of a ball game. But, boy, that offense, it was that ball game we started thinking, what's going on with this offense? He scored 35 points against Northern Colorado, and you could tell there was some struggling. Now, a little backstory on that. Coming into the season, it was either going to be Brendan Lewis or J.T. Shrout, a transfer from Tennessee. Shrout really looks the part, and I think he probably was going to win that battle going into game number 1. However, 2 weeks into camp, they had a scrimmage. He tore his ACL. He's out for the season, so Brendan Lewis ends up getting the job by default. He's a talented guy, but he has had some struggles, pulling the trigger, making the right reads, throwing on time, those kind of things. And so that coupled with not very good offensive line play, which is why just earlier this week on Monday, Carl Durrell dismissed the offensive line coach who had been with him since he got here. So those two things combined have really hurt this offense. And, I mean, it's been bad. Right now they're 130th in America in yards per game. I think it's 128th in points per game, so right at the bottom of the nation. The defense has played solidly. Special teams have been very good. But, boy, that offense has killed Colorado, and that's why they're sitting where they are right now.
Yeah, look, hey, everybody's dealt with injuries, but when you get one to the quarterback position, Mark, I mean, that's just killer. I feel for the Buffs, especially because sure looked like against Texas A&M, even with that offense what it is, played a pretty darn good game there. What was the expectation going into the season, Mark? I mean, well, I feel like it must have been higher than what the results have been.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, Joey. I think everyone thought this was going to be a bowl team. Now, what does that mean? 6, 7, 8 wins? I don't know. But everyone thought this was a bowl team. I thought it was a bowl team. We didn't expect the offense to be like this, however, and it's really hurt. And then, just a couple of weeks ago, fans got a little reprieve against Arizona because things seemed to turn a little bit. You thought, okay, well, maybe the young quarterback is starting to figure things out. Maybe that offensive line is getting itself together. And then last week, Buffs went into Berkeley, California, and just late tonight got beat 26-3. The game wasn't nearly that close. They only had 104 yards of offense total in that ball game, which is one thing if you're playing at Texas A&M or you're playing even in Oregon or somebody of that ilk, but you're playing a team that was 1-5. And so not that Cal's doesn't have some decent talent. I know they've been close in a lot of games. I don't need to tell Ducks fans. That was just a couple of weeks ago on a Friday night. They gave Oregon all it wanted. But, boy, to lose a game like that really hurt. That prompted the move of the offensive line coach. And, boy, there's been a lot of hand-wringing around this program now the last few days.
Hey, so what is the situation? I mean, who is coaching the offensive line at this point after the shakeup this week, Mark?
Well, Mitch Rodrigue was fired, and so he's dismissed. They had an assistant line coach who had been helping him all along. And then we know, and your fans obviously know this, there are a lot of those kind of ubiquitous positions. None of us really know what they do, but quality control, and they're different aspects. And so there's a gentleman on the staff who's a young guy who had been an offensive lineman for Alabama, and so he's also helping with that as well. So they've got a couple of different assistant coaches who are helping out with that position, and they'll get them through the last 5 games of the season here. Then obviously something will happen with that position as Carl Durrell will try and hire somebody after the campaign is over.
Sticking on the offense, I think that the name Chenault means a lot, not just around Colorado, but around the Pac-12. A different Chenault, Mark, but it sounds like you're getting a wide receiver weapon back this week.
Yeah, it looks like it. LaVisca had some issues off the field. He's had a couple of those since he's been here. And so Carl Durrell told us here just a couple of days ago that, yeah, they will be bringing him back. He's been practicing this week. And so, there's a couple of namesakes on this team. There's a Chenault and a Rice that are both pretty good wide receivers. But it'll be nice to have Levante back. However, Joey, once again, we go back to the quarterback position. I don't care how good the wide receivers are. If you can't get them the ball, there's not a lot of value out there other than just blocking somebody. And so they got to fix that problem. That's got to be addressed, and they've got to have some improvements there. But, yeah, I'll tell you a great story. So it was Levante's freshman year. Gary Barnett, my partner, the great coach, and I were standing at the sideline at practice one day very early in camp, and number 5 goes running by, and he goes, "Who in the world is that?" I said, "That's Levante. That's Lavisca's little brother." And he says, "Genetics are an amazing thing, aren't they?" So he might not be Lavisca, but he's got a lot of the same qualities.
Yeah, I think that I'll be honest, I had to do a double take when I was looking through the roster at Chenault. I went, God, I thought the Pac-12 was done having to deal with that guy. Mark Johnson joining us, the voice of the Buffs. You mentioned the defense, Mark. I mean, just how good has the defense been? What's been the key to this good defense for Colorado?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. Here's a number for you, and I haven't looked it up before the game this weekend, but before the game for Cal, think of this for a second. To show you what that defense was doing. And with an offense that's producing nothing, with time of possession, which is normally very heavy for the opposition, the yardage very heavy, that defense had 35% of the opponent's snaps had been 0 or negative yards. Wow. That's an enormous number. So when you look at the issues for Colorado, the defense hasn't been perfect, but it's been very good at different times. And I think they're very solid up front. They're led by linebacker Nate Landman. I'm sure you guys have heard the news, however. I mean, he's as good as any linebacker in the Pac-12, maybe America. He is not expected to play this weekend. He got dinged up against Cal, and so that takes an enormous presence out of that defense. And right in the middle, the quarterback of the defense, you know, I joke all the time when I call the games, when in doubt, just say Nate Landman, because he's always around the ball anyway, right? And so they're solid at linebacker. They're deeper than they were a year ago at that position. The two corners are very good. Christian Gonzalez and Mekhi Blackman are very, very good corners. I think Christian Gonzalez might be the next great, you know, CU cornerback we've seen with, you know, Akella Witherspoon and Chidobe Awuzie and Jimmy Smith and all the guys in the NFL right now. And then at safety, you know, those guys have grown up over the course of time. Isaiah Lewis has played some pretty solid football, and Mark Perry's coming along. And so it's really a solid unit from front to back at all three levels defensively.
You know, I'm curious, with Landman out, how does that change the defense? Does someone just slide in, Mark? What's the plan there?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, it's like, you know, replacing anybody who is a great player, right? I mean, on the basketball side, at CU, they're trying to replace McKinley Wright, who's now with the Minnesota Timberwolves. You just don't replace that guy. Someone will fill the position. But Nate's such a unique player. I tell the story all the time, Joey. His freshman year, Chad Brown, the great All-American linebacker for the Buffaloes, played 15 years in the NFL. He's doing sidelines for us during the broadcast, and during a commercial break, he goes, MJ, who in the heck is number 53? And I said, that's that Landman kid they brought in. They see real high on him. He said, now he's got to grow up, but he said he's in the right position every single time. So he's one of those kind of guys. He always reads it properly, makes the right play. He's gotten better physically as he's gotten older. So whoever that is, they're going to jump in there. I mean, Zephaniah Mai is his backup. That's the guy on the depth chart. I don't know that they'd start him. They've got an Oklahoma transfer, Robert Barnes, maybe slide him in there, someone like that. Jack Lamb came from Notre Dame. One of those guys might slide into that position, but no one's going to replace Nate Landman. He is an enormous presence out there. We saw it last year when he went down with a torn Achilles tendon against Utah in the second half. The entire defense fell apart. Now, they've got some time to prepare for that this time, obviously, but still, you don't take a guy of that magnitude out without having, you know, some drop-off.
He's Mark Johnson, voice of the Buffs, joining us. Couple final thoughts, Mark. Keys to a victory for Colorado. What's it going to take to get a win at Autzen Stadium at 12:30 on Saturday?
Well, first off, Colorado's got to find some offense, and I don't say that, you know, flippantly at all. I mean, it's been startling to watch, having been here as long as I have, doing these games for as long as I have, and seeing this offense struggle the way that it has really is startling to me. I mean, they cannot seem to find anything consistently. And you think to yourself, well, they had the Offensive Player of the Year last year in Jarek Broussard. What about him? Well, listen, the easiest job in America right now is to be a defensive coordinator creating a game plan against Colorado. They can't throw the football, so let's just make sure they don't run the football. Yeah. So you take Jarek Broussard or Alex Fontenot out of the mix, and you become a very difficult offense to, you know, have any production. And so they've got to find some offense. I mean, the defense is like I said, good to very good at different times. Special teams have been very good to good at different times. It all boils down to, can they move the football? And that's the sad reality of where Colorado's at right now.
Finally, Mark, I'm always curious, you know, whenever I do these interviews with folks like yourself and my counterparts elsewhere, just what's the view of the Pac-12, and then more specifically, what's the view of Oregon right now? I mean, what's your take on the conference and the Ducks as we sit here today?
Well, I think from a conference standpoint, and it's sad to say as well for this league, we are sadly looked upon across the country in the Power Five as being the one that doesn't quite measure up at the top. I mean, we've got some very good teams. I think Oregon's a very good team. I know that, you know, they've had some interesting escapes, if you will, during games this season where they've been awful close. We saw UCLA come back against them last week. I still think they're extremely talented on the offensive side. Their numbers are outstanding. On the defensive side, you know, is that an elite team? I don't think so. I think it's a very good team. But Oregon right now, I think, is probably the class of the league. And so I don't think you take anything away from what Oregon's doing. But right now, this league is not as strong as it needs to be from top to bottom, and that hurts everybody, including the team that sits up top right now from a you know, kind of a respect standpoint. And that's kind of what Oregon's dealing with. I mean, obviously, I believe that the Ducks want to believe that they're going to get into the playoffs, and I certainly hope they do because that's good for the league. But when you're beating everybody in this league and the rest of the country doesn't have respect for it, it takes away a little bit from your resume. And it's kind of the stark reality we're dealing with here in the Pac-12 right now, and that has got to be fixed and got to be addressed.
Yeah. Mark Johnson, good stuff. He's the voice of the Buffaloes. He's going to have the call. Mark, it's going to be great to see you for a broadcast from Autzen Stadium. I'm so glad that I get to say that this year. Mark Johnson will have the call for the Colorado side of things, that 12:30 kickoff. Mark, thanks so much for taking the time. Thanks for pulling over. I really appreciate the effort, buddy.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you guys could see the mountains here in Colorado, at least for a few minutes anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I'll take any chance I can get. And Mark, look forward to seeing you out for some basketball, too. Hey, thanks for the time, Mark, and safe travels out here to Eugene, all right?
All right. You bet. Take care.
All right. When we come back, we're going to hear from Anthony Brown talk about that quarterback position on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Exit Strategy, no matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, football is back! So consider this your official excuse for always putting football watching first, courtesy of Pepsi. That haircut appointment? Seeing the in-laws for the first time in ages.
It's been so long.
Nope, sorry, Susan, not if it's on Sunday. Long story short, after the year we've all had, we think you could use a little football watching. So crack open a Pepsi and cheer your football watching face off. With love, Pepsi. Made for football watching. That's what I like.
Dear Exit Strategy, no matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. And every time I talk with Mark Johnson, I'm always like, how? How does he do that? Like, that was through a cell phone microphone, and it still just is like the best booming voice I've ever heard. Anyway, as a broadcaster, you're just like, I am not worthy. It's the truth. It's the truth. Anthony Brown, this week, named to the Davey O'Brien class of 2021. That makes him eligible to be voted on as a semifinalist for the Best Quarterback in the Country award. And he met with the media this week, covered a lot of different topics heading into the 12:30 kickoff against the Buffs. Here's AB.
Anthony, coming off that UCLA game, obviously you had a pretty strong performance. How do you think you can carry that momentum into this Colorado game?
I would say just continuing to execute and get better at the little things in practice and just keep moving forward so we can progress and be just as good or even better on Saturday.
What have you seen from Devin and his improvement the last couple of weeks? Because he wasn't even playing a month ago, and now he's back-to-back games. He's had really good games for you guys.
He's been very good in practice. Great teammate. He's a really good leader. And he's just been playing really hard in practice. He's been doing his things. He's been paying attention, very good with attention to detail. So I think that's been a leading cause in what's going on right now.
When teams jump off sides like they do, and you throw that deep ball, is that the guy you're supposed to look at, or is it just kind of find someone and just chuck it?
I mean, he's a mismatch, especially for size. So, I mean, that would be the go-to.
Right. Were you expecting them to jump as much as they did offsides? Because I think it was about 4 or 5 of those. And kind of what goes into that?
I think we only got one penalty where I was able to throw it. But the other ones, they move so much. It's going to happen eventually. So, yeah, it was bound to happen.
How much does it affect specifically what you do when you guys are losing so many offensive linemen to injury like you did on Saturday? I think you had 3 go down in the span of an hour.
I wouldn't say it affects anything. Coach Mirabal does a wonderful job with them in preparing the younger guys to get ready for any situation like Saturday, of course, and it's just next man up mentality. So.
You see a guy like Dawson go in and shuffling at both guard spots. Just how impressive is that? And how hard is it for a guy to do something like that?
Dawson, he works his tail off. He also was in there against Ohio State, one of the best defensive linemen in the country. So, like, things like that, I think people don't take into account. These guys do have snaps. They do have great reps against great players. So, just them moving around and them understanding what is going on in their position or what else is going around them is really important, and they really take advantage of that.
Seems like with Ryan's been kind of seamless transition at center. Had you guys had, before Alex went down, a lot of experience doing that? I mean, is that something where you need to develop chemistry and talk about that?
We didn't have a lot of experience together before this, but it's rolling right now, and it's moving really well. So.
Moorhead said Saturday's game against UCLA was one of the best he's seen from Ryan Walk here at Oregon. And at center, you typically don't know if he does well. You know when he does bad, gets to snap the ball over your head or bad snaps. Like, can you put into context just what he did that was so impressive for you guys?
Handling the move calls right in front of his face. The nose was making his move calls. He's moving around a lot. From there to understanding what is in front of him, what fronts, and what our blocking schemes are, he did a hell of a job. So.
Your team talks about the 1-0 process each week. Just talk about what that means to you, and also how do you able to just kind of avoid this extra distractions?
I would say just controlling what I can control. And the same thing goes for my teammates. We all just focus on what we need to focus on, whether it's practice, film study, extra work, whatever the case may be. Just taking everything in and being 1-0 at every rep, everything we do. So that's really that.
What have you seen from Micah in particular, because this was a career high in receptions for him this past game? Was there something that either he did differently during the game, just got more open, or just the way the game plan came together?
It's just the way the game plan came together.
What has he been doing maybe even differently or improved on in practice over the last month or so?
I mean, even from the beginning of the season, Micah has been great in practice. So it was bound for this to happen for him, and I'm really proud of him, and I'm pretty sure it's going to keep going.
Who did you go up to right after the game?
Coach Fry. He was there with me at BC, I want to say in 2018, 2017, before he left and went to UCLA. He was our offensive line coach there, and I really love Coach Fry. So we talked for a little bit, and then we just said our goodbyes, and we're going to eventually connect with each other down the road.
And the people you spoke with last week, was Kenny Pickett among them?
No, but Kenny is my dog. We've been playing against each other, with each other since we were like 8 years old. So I'm really happy for him right now, and I'm not surprised about what he's doing right now, and I'm proud of him.
Defensively, Colorado statistically is one of the stronger in the conference.
Yes.
What have you seen from them that allows them to do that?
They are very powerful. They have some really good talent on defense, and they play really hard. So they're not going to fool you with anything, but they are going to play you nose up, and they're just going to try to, I would say, just overpower you.
We had a little time to watch the film. What stood out from Saturday? What things do you feel like you did really well, and maybe areas for improvement personally?
I would say just attention to detail. Like we talked about last week, UCLA, they do a lot from a blitz standpoint. But one thing I would say I could have done better in the game was sitting in the pocket a little bit longer and trusting getting open, and as well as the rush initially in the beginning of the game. So that was that.
Can you walk me through the 43-yard touchdown and maybe what you saw? I know DJ he was kind of your lead blocker there and cleaned some stuff up, but what kind of was your process there?
Just a simple read the mic, ran with the running back on the swing, and I followed DJ, and just basically it was a two-way go, and the safety made the decision for me. So I just took off inside of him.
Anthony, after going against a team like UCLA that likes to blitz, give you guys a lot of different looks, that's another road matchup that has been, a lot of your guys' tough games has been coming on the road so far. Coming back to Autzen, how do you think that road experience is going to help you guys?
It's always good to go to a place like the Rose Bowl and play against a really good team like UCLA and then be able to come out on top, come back home, and just got to continue that momentum and just keep playing hard.
Good stuff from Anthony Brown this week, the Oregon quarterback meeting with the media. We're going to get a break and come back and switch gears a little bit because we got women's basketball tonight. Going to hear from Kelly Graves, head coach, Oregon women's basketball. First, though, our Slocum Center Minute, Dr. Mildren, robotic arm technology. It blows me away every time we talk about this kind of stuff. Going to learn a little bit about that, how they handle injuries for athletes, then talk with Kelly Graves next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome to the Slocum Center Minute. Slocum Center orthopedic doctors are located here in Eugene and are the official orthopedic team physicians for your Oregon Ducks. With me, I have Dr. Mark Mildren, a hip and knee surgeon at Slocum Center for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, discussing Mako robotic arm-assisted technology for joint replacement. Dr. Mildren, tell us about Mako robotic arm-assisted technology for joint replacement.
So one of the latest iterations in technology in knee replacements is using robotics as well as navigation to place our components. Usually in knee replacement, we place the components first and then adjust soft tissue tension later so that the patient has a balanced knee. One of the benefits with the Mako robotic assisted knee is that we can actually make small tweaks to the component positioning to minimize trauma to the soft tissue and essentially balance the knee without making some of those releases. It enables a little bit less soft tissue damage as well as gets our components in a little bit more accurately.
Who's the ideal candidate for one of these types of replacements?
So really any patient that needs a knee replacement could potentially benefit from a Mako knee replacement.
Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Mildren.
Thank you.
That was the Slocum Center Minute, brought to you by Slocum Center for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, the official orthopedic sports medicine team physicians for University of Oregon Athletics since 1967.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon Athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey cheesy crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously, but as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
These are the sounds of a dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Back at Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon Women's Basketball Tonight exhibition. Terry John's going to be watching the game because Sean McPherson, our OSN broadcast extraordinaire intern, OSN intern extraordinaire. I got to figure out the right way to say it. Either way, Sean McPherson, his buddies from KWVA, the student radio station, have the call tonight. You'll be able to watch it and listen to them on the Oregon live stream. That's your way to tune in. And Kelly Graves previewed the season a little bit as we get ready for women's basketball tonight at Matthew Knight Arena at 6 o'clock.
Coach, I was wondering if you could provide some specifics on what you're doing to honor the 2019 team tomorrow. It sounds pretty significant. Can you give us some details on that?
Yeah, well, it all kind of came together organically. This isn't anything that we set up. So I think they're going to have a quick video tribute. I think it'll be at a timeout of some sort. We don't really have anything organized from our end. I think it was really cool that, that they kind of put this together themselves. They realized, somebody's going to be here. Well, I'm going to be there too. And then they let Satu and Mignon know, and they said, well, we'll come. So it was kind of cool. And, hopefully we get a great crowd that'll be there not only to see the current Duck team, but to, really pay tribute to them, because it's not often that they're able to come to a game during the basketball season, just simply because they usually have to go overseas. But for whatever reason, it just happened to work out right now. Hopefully they get a big time cheer. I'm sure they will. First chance they've had to come back since the whole pandemic. So it's probably going to be a surreal experience for them, but we're really excited that they're here. If nothing else, I just want our players to get to know them a little bit. As crazy as it sounds, only Sedona and Niara were here in the program when they were here just 2 short years ago.
Hey, Coach, I was just wondering how you approach tomorrow's exhibition game. I know you're not one to ever not want to try and win, and that's obviously the goal, but is there some sort of other thing you're looking for, something you're going to try out in the game?
Good question, BK. I just, no, we're going to play it. We're going to, the game's going to be live streamed, so we don't really want to show too much, for our early season opponents, because it is an advantage for them. But the reality is we're going to just go out and play. Everybody will get a chance to play. I think that's important. It is an exhibition game. However, we are going to play to win. We haven't handled this any differently than we did 2 years ago when we played USA. Honestly, we played everybody in the first half that night. Few people remember that, and we were still able to get it done. So, we just want to make sure we get through the game healthy, that we look good. We don't want to get sloppy, regardless of what the score is. St. Martin's has already played a game, so they're going to be ready. They have a game under their belt. And let's face it, this is the first time, believe it or not, any player on my team in our uniform has played in front of a home crowd. So we might be as nervous as the other team, to be honest with you. So I'm interested to see how it goes tomorrow.
Yeah, Kelly, just kind of building on that last point you said about the crowd, just how exciting is it to get back out there after what you guys went through last year and be in front of a real crowd once again?
Oh my goodness, I can't wait. Can't wait to have our crowd back. It really does make a difference. We were second in the nation in attendance 2 years ago, the last time we had fans. And I'll tell you, every game you have the ups and downs, and when you're struggling a little bit, it's nice to have that home crowd to kind of get you motivated and get you pumped up and maybe refocused. It also affects the opposing team. So we truly do have a home court advantage here. It's not just words. It's a real thing. So glad that they're back. And I don't know the protocols, though. I'm assuming they all have to be vaccinated or tested recently, right? So let's go. Get loud. Get loud.
Just to go back, Kelly, on honoring that 2019 team, if my numbers are correct, I think Ruthie's the first WNBA champion that's come from Oregon since Shaquilla Williams about 15, 20 years ago or so. Nate, you can correct me if I'm wrong there. But just generally for the program, for the national profile, we all have seen Sabrina and what she's done with elevating the Oregon brand. But to have a WNBA champion now that, played minutes throughout the season, what does that mean for you guys, for the program at large, and your ability to go out and recruit and point to something tangible at the higher level there?
Big time. Yeah, and Ruthie had a chance to talk with the team already. She's been here for a few days. What an incredible accomplishment for her and her team. I think is just so neat. I take pride in it myself because, having shared the journey alongside her for 4 years here and now to see what she's doing in the pros, I think it's really special. I think all of our graduates, they've all done well. This entire group, you can't turn on any kind of a sporting event without seeing Sabrina in a commercial or two, right? Ruthie now WNBA champ. And then every time I get on, online to buy some new shoes from Jordan or whoever, there's Satu's picture, she's on the front page of Jordan brand. So, I mean, they're just all accomplished, not only on the court, but off the court. And they're really representing the University of Oregon very, very well. We're proud of them. Mignon, who will also be here, she's an assistant coach down at Sacramento State. So she's starting her coaching journey, and just really special night. I'm so proud of them for who they are and what they did, certainly for the University of Oregon, and continue to do.
Coach, just from an availability perspective, anybody not available to play from a health perspective tomorrow, and kind of have you settled on how you want to handle a starting lineup or a rotation? Is it just going to be kind of a mix and match, or what's your plan there?
Well, tomorrow, it's going to be a lot of mix and match. Everybody will play. Eric, I can't believe I'm saying this. We have all 13 players healthy and available. I mean, I bet if you polled Division I coaches across the country, there wouldn't be 10% of the programs that have everybody ready for the first exhibition game. Just this time of year, you get, aches, pains. Well, we don't want to push it because it's just an early season game or an early season practice. So we've been healthy, knock on wood. And everybody will be available tomorrow. The only question mark, we're still waiting on Taylor Hosendove. She's the only one, I believe, that has not been, gotten her waiver to play from the NCAA. We don't know if she's able to play in an exhibition game or not. We're still waiting for the final answer. I'm hoping that she is, since it isn't a true counting game.
Yeah, Coach, can you talk a little bit about it's like having Sedona's presence both on and off the court, and just kind of like how her influence rubs off on the other players on the team?
Aaron, that's a great question. I'm really impressed with what Sedona is doing and has done. I mean, she is a lightning rod, right? Every time somebody, has a cause, or they want a spokesperson, whether it's for gender inequality or for, whatever, NIL, she's the one they call and ask. I don't know how many U.S. senators and House of Representatives I've talked to that want her to get involved. And she seems to juggle it all really well. Hasn't missed practice, comes with a great attitude, is putting in the time off the court as well. And she's just got a million things going on. It's amazing. She's a marvel. She truly is. On the court, I'll tell you, she's playing really well. Shooting well. She's got that mid-range game. Her and Niara especially are really developing a great synergy in practice, that high-low game. And so I've been impressed. Now let's see if she goes out and does it when the lights are on.
Hey, Coach, you have a talented group of newcomers there. Just talk about them and what you've seen from them so far.
Hey, I love this new group. They all give us a little something different. Elise Hurst, transfer from New Mexico, is a deadly outside shooter, and she's got great feet defensively. She's become one of our best defenders, certainly on the perimeter. I think, Shannon Duffusy, good three-point shooter. I mean, she's in her 6th year. I think they're starting to call her grandma. But she, she's been around this game a lot, has a lot of experience, and it shows. She plays at a high level intellectually, but really shoots the ball well. Shania Pinto, you guys, junior college transfer from Chris Duarte's junior college. I love her activity. Defensively, she is long, she's athletic, she's tenacious, really good on the board. So she's going to give us that energizer element that we're going to need, I'm sure, at times. Taylor Hosendove's kind of a jack of all trades, really good, very patient, excellent interior passer. And then the two freshmen, Filipina Che, you guys, has a chance to be a really nice player for us. She's going to be 6'8" the whole game. She's got a great feel for the game, finishes well. She's strong, great rebounder. I think Taylor Bigby, who has been out a little bit with injury, is just now back about a week. And so she's still working through some stuff, but plays downhill, really good defender. I'm missing a transfer, you guys. India. How can I? Yeah, she was all Pac-12. She knows what it takes to succeed and compete in the Pac-12. So I don't really see her as a newcomer necessarily. She knows the conference, really good shooter, and she has blended in nicely. So really, I think all of our newcomers are able to help us at different times in different ways.
Just to touch on Filipina a little bit more, looking at some of the statistics you put out from the scrimmage, it seems like she really had quite a performance in that. This is also a 6'8" player that I'm sure will get some ample minutes there at the 5. I know Sedona kind of likes her mid-range game a bit. How big is that for you guys in terms of you said mixing and matching. Now you have 6'8" down there, where maybe that opens up your 6'7", forward center to be able to operate in maybe a different space than just being traditional back basket.
Yeah, I put that little tweet out just to tease you a little bit. Nobody really knew of her. So I thought that would, I'm glad that you picked up on that. Yeah, she had a great first 40-minute scrimmage, 22-9, only missed one shot, got to the line a lot. She's got a really good feel for the game, got good hands, can finish. She's a defensive presence. One day, Tahina drives down. She thought she had a layup, and out from nowhere comes Filipina, and she must have thrown it literally to that 12th row. And even Tahina had to just laugh because she goes, I didn't see her coming. She just can make up ground like that. So I really like her. She's a typical freshman, though. She's got, a ways to go. Played in Canada last year, Andrew, and, they didn't play any games. So she went a whole season without playing, and she needs time on the court. So I'm excited to see how she looks tomorrow when the lights come on. I'm really excited about her future, though, and she's got such a great attitude. And she reminds me of Ruthie in a lot of ways. Ruthie, you guys forget or may have forgotten, we actually offered to redshirt her as a freshman. We didn't know what we had. And then for whatever reason, when the lights went on and the games were played, she became a beast. And was all Pac-12 as a freshman. So you just never know what happens when you go live. So I really hope that she falls into that category. But she's got the Ruthie smile, man, and that Ruthie attitude that's infectious.
Can you speak to a little bit of the growth from the 4 freshmen from a year ago and kind of maybe some areas you've seen improvement there and maybe how collectively they fit different roles this year?
Well, I think 3 of the 4, the 3 guards that we have back, Sydney Parrish, Maddie Shear, and obviously Tahina, have really solidified themselves into our rotation. Those guys are all playing well. Sydney is, I think she's had a great fall. Defensively, she gets hands on a lot of balls. She's a good team defender. Still got to work on her on-ball defense. But she just does it so smart and is shooting it well from range. Maddie Shear, you guys, is just a great player. She's a jack of all trades for us. Really good, our best defender on the perimeter. And I think she's squarely put herself into a starting role for us. And I like playing her at the point and even Tahina and India and those other guards off the ball a little bit because she's a pass first player. And I like how that has gone so far. So, Maddie, I expect a big year. And then Kylie, Kylie's gotten better. She has improved and she's working her butt off. She's just at a position where we got a lot of talent and returning talent and, with Niara and Sedona. But she's in the mix. She's in the rotation. There's no question about that.
Hey, Kelly, real quick, I wanted to go back. You mentioned that you guys are still waiting on some paperwork things for Taylor. Does that mean that Shannon is totally cleared? No hoops left to jump through? Good to go?
I believe so. I haven't seen it officially, but nobody has raised any concerns about that. So as a grad transfer, I think her waiver process is a little bit easier, so to speak. Yeah. So we're still just, I think, waiting on Taylor, but I'm sorry, I can't confirm that. I will find out before we play. Believe me.
We'll have an answer at 6 o'clock tonight as Oregon women's basketball opens the exhibition season against St. Martin's. It's going to be on the Oregon live stream. Looking forward to seeing this team in action and really looking forward to everyone giving a round of applause some of the best student athletes in Oregon history. Not just women's basketball, but Oregon history in general with those 4 that are coming back. Sabrina Ionescu, Ruthie Hebert, Santu Sabali, and Mignon Moore. Of course, Niara Sabali today, if you missed it, named as one of the top 20 power forwards in the country heading into this season. And the preseason awards might not be quite done yet for the Ducks. When we come back, take a look at the schedule for the week as we get ready for a lot of football and some big matchups tonight, particularly one for Oregon soccer. Stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Neil Armstrong waited 6 hours and 39 minutes to step onto the surface of the moon. Jackie Robinson waited 20 months to play his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And even DiCaprio had to wait 22 years to win an Oscar. You can wait until your destination. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. You know, it's funny, coming up tonight for Oregon women's basketball, and a true doubleheader for everybody, because soccer has a huge matchup tonight. I want to make sure that we hit on that again, because 7 o'clock on Pac-12 Network, also on KWVA, the student radio station, 88.1 FM. The Ducks are taking on Washington State, and I think looking at the standings in the Pac-12, right now Oregon's in a great position to make the postseason for the first time in program history, and only the second year under Graham Abel after what a tumultuous first year it was, not playing in the fall, then playing in the spring. Now they are playing in the fall. It's the shortest offseason in the history of Oregon soccer, and here we are, and the Ducks are in a position to make the tournament for the first time in program history. I think that if Oregon beats Washington State tonight, they are comfortably in the field. Now, of course, they still got some chances ahead of them. They still got a few more matchups, one with Washington on Sunday and then coming up against Oregon State. But for Oregon soccer tonight, that's a big-time matchup. So I'm going to be doing the double duty, actually. I told myself that I would be at Oregon soccer tonight. I'm going to be tuning in for Oregon women's basketball, watching soccer, and it's the true multitasking experience this evening for the Ducks. So best of luck, though, to Oregon women's basketball getting back on the field. And tomorrow, back on the court. Tomorrow, we will talk about the teams that are playing on the field, because Jerry and Georgie will join us for some Pac-12 picks. We'll also get a full preview of Oregon and Colorado, a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday at Autzen. See you then, everybody. Go Ducks.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s, like go back to college, learn to skateboard. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. At aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a free 3-minute chat with the friendly digital retirement coach, Avo, and receive personalized tips to help boost your savings. Start chatting with Avo today at aceyourretirement.org.